Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I'm the co-host here. And boy, let me tell you, next week, starting Monday, I have a fantasy draft every day of the week.
Every day?
Every single day of the week. They're all online, thank goodness, but I have one every day of the week. My last live draft, which I just finished the live draft this past Sunday, my last live draft will be Wednesday night, the night before the opener.
Wow. Wow, that's taking it up to the
Yep.
to the last minute, eh? Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Fantasy. Fantasy is in effect. I'm seeing the shows are back on and everything now and all of that. So okay, all right. Let's get ready to kick it off, Benny. This week, we're going to really look at all the hot topics and current events. We're going to take a look at the Ben and Barry on Football Facebook page. And let's see what's going on over there. This is a decent start. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, Sports Illustrated cover guy, Benny. When he went and got that representation, man, he's been a hot topic ever since, man. They're really doing a job for him.
Yeah, I can't say they're not. He's the big guy on campus right now. Seems to say and do everything correctly, and I'm surprised he didn't get the cover of the Madden joint. I'll tell you the truth. But there's a Sports Illustrated jinx also. You know that, right?
There's a Sports Illustrated jinx, yes, and that was before the Madden jinx.
Right, but it probably won't take effect because of this cover, because we're still in the preseason, so he should be fine. But don't get your picture on
how the
there
mystical works.
You don't want to get your picture on the front of Sports Illustrated the week before a big game. That's what you don't want.
Oh, that's how it works, eh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And for one to understand, what's the Wade's wife's name?
Gabrielle Union.
From what I understand, Gabrielle has said she's what's the word that she used? Oh man, obsessed with Jalen Hurts.
Oh Lord.
And took a lot of guff for it. You know what I mean? People are like, oh,
as she should. There's a lot. She's got a lot of stuff behind her. I know you don't read these gossip pages and look at the stupid stuff that's on Instagram and stuff, but she got a lot of baggage traveling behind her, man.
You're right. I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't know exactly.
So for her to come out and say something like that was a bit foolish as far as I'm concerned, considering some of the stuff people are talking about.
Okay. Well, maybe that's part of why
story.
It didn't seem to make any sense to me that everybody would be all upset about it. I'm like, probably first of all, every female in the Eagles is obsessed with this guy. So we shall see. We shall see. But Jalen Hurts. So Benny, it looks like Henry Ruggs is going to serve some time. Not as much time as you might think for someone who was involved with a fatal DUI. But from what it seems is that there was something that happened in the original investigation that wasn't correct. And as a result, the police decided that this particular settlement was the better settlement because of what happened. And they apparently they didn't think they'd get that full, like book them for murder or not murder, but, homicide and all of that kind of stuff.
So got a bit of a lighter sentence.
Yeah, I don't know what they didn't do, but whatever they didn't do is served him, in terms of not as many years as you might think for someone who was involved with a fatality.
So what did he get? Like second degree murder instead of first? Or vehicular homicide?
No. Let's look at it real quick.
Yeah.
So, first of all, he pled guilty. Okay. And uh, to
Felony charge of DUI.
felony charge DUI, death, and a misdemeanor charge of vehicular homicide.
Vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sorry.
different.
Vehicular manslaughter. I'm sorry. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, that is different.
And you're looking 3 to 10 years and eligible for petition in 2026, which
He
is
lucked up.
3 years away. So, you know, apparently that's and he did apologize, and he's taking accountability for everything. And I don't think the family is really pushing back. I think they basically know that, well, they feel as if, as they say, no sentence will ever bring Tina and Max back, but they hope everyone learns from this preventable incident. So that's kind of how that shaped out there, Benny. So a promising career. Okay, Benny, so I thought about you when this picture came up, and Junior got a chance to give Dad the football, and carry on the Steelers tradition there. What did you think? Did you get a chance to see that when it happened?
I didn't see it live on the game, but I did see the replay of the game, and I thought that was great. And there's no better fit for a guy like this guy than the Pittsburgh Steelers. He grew up in their locker room, basically.
Right. Why am I forgetting his dad's name?
Joey Porter.
Joey Porter and
Joey Porter Sr., Joey Porter Jr.
I want to make sure I said their names. I didn't say that in the discussion of it, but yeah.
That's his first professional interception. And I'm sure as soon as he gets his first one in a real game, that Dad will get that ball also.
Yeah, you were hot on the Steelers taking Joey Porter.
Oh yeah, that's legacy. I go for that bloodline legacy stuff. I love that.
Sad news. Caleb Farley's father.
Oh, this was crazy.
Did you see the result of the explosion?
There was nothing.
There was nothing left. It was if you look up smithereens, that was probably the picture.
Right.
What they would choose as a definition, man. That was absolutely, and I heard he was asleep, so I don't know what happened. But that was just a tremendous explosion, and so our condolences go out to the family and friends.
Yeah, whatever it was, I'm sure they'll come up with a definitive explanation.
They said gas. So far, that's what I heard, gas.
But I heard on the radio this morning that there was some issue of a gas leak, and it built up so much that it was just waiting for something to ignite it. And who knew? Somebody could have lit a cigarette lighter or something, and poof, whatever. So, but we don't know yet. So
yeah, you don't know, man. But that's
his uncle got away okay though.
Yeah, he was there.
Yes, his uncle was in the house. He walked out of the house. He was injured, but
amazing. Wasn't much house to walk out of. Left.
Well, the house basically exploded all over him.
Yeah,
but somehow he survived. I have no clue.
That is amazing. So Benny, Will Levis. Wait, but a lifetime mayonnaise contract?
That's cool.
I remember when he was talking about putting mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yep.
Early on, and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but apparently he's turned it into something.
At first, I thought it was like a joke just to get some laughs because he was getting interviewed a lot before the draft and all, but it turns out the guy really does put mayonnaise in his coffee. And guess what? Hellman's money is as good as anybody else's money.
Hey, look, especially when, how many of these types of endorsements agreement is anybody else getting? Especially if you're coming in as a second round draft pick. Of course, he was expected to go in the first, but coming in as a second rounder. So congratulations to Will Levis on his lifetime contract. Which mayonnaise is that there?
I believe it's Hellman's.
Hellman's.
My favorite.
Is that your favorite?
Absolutely.
Well,
No
Benny,
Miracle Whip for me. I'm a Hellman's guy.
you like the real mayonnaise stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Miracle Whip is something a little bit different. Well, Benny, as you know, at the new location, I'm having painting done, and the painters at one of them is a hardcore Eagles fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got into a discussion, and I said to him, I said, "Well, do you remember the guy that used to back up um, Jaws? You know?" And all of those discussions that you and I had way back then when Johnny Walton was coming off the bench,
Yep.
and especially the game against the Cowboys. And after that game, we're like, why isn't he starting?
Right.
You remember that?
Yep. I put that on my list of another reason why I hate the Eagles. And
Well,
that's old. That's way on the list. That's old.
I didn't realize he was the first black quarterback for the Eagles.
Yeah, there was nobody before him. Correct.
Yeah, yeah. And Dick Vermeil called him. Because
Mm-hmm.
Dick, you know, so yeah, and so he just got inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
That's cool.
What school did he go to? I forgot.
That's a good question. I know he did not go to FAMU. Let's take a quick look. Elizabeth City State University.
Okay. Elizabeth City
State University, yeah.
That's where is that? Is that in one of the Carolinas?
I do believe. That's the first thing popped in my head when you said.
Yeah, I believe, yeah.
Yeah,
double check
that. That's the first thing popped in my head. But anyway, Johnny Walton, and he had never heard of him. He's about 10 years younger than me, and he's like, who's that? So now.
Wait, he said, who's that?
Yeah, he didn't know who Johnny Walton was, So I had to educate the Eagle fans.
Don't get me started, man.
I'm not a hater. I'm a football lover, and we were big Johnny Walton promoters back in the day, so I just had to update them.
And we're not Eagles fans.
And we're not even Eagle fans. Just football fans. We just like football,
Right. And we gave Johnny Walton all the love he could take, man.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
See, I'm telling you, man, if there's one thing I hate more than a Eagles fan, it's a front-running, bogus, no history knowing of your team Eagles fan.
Well, I'm going to give them a little bit because what happens is we get these new generations, man, and they just don't have that history. I mean, you and I talked about Johnny Walton.
Yeah, but you said he was only 10 years younger than you.
In this conversation, he goes back to Randall and all of those guys.
Yeah, that's when he became a real fan. See, that's what you know what? I'm getting ready to get him.
Yeah, you take it easy.
Let me stop. I'm going to stop.
You take it easy.
Stop. These guys, I'm a diehard. I'm diehard. You don't know what happened before Randall Cunningham. You mean you diehard, and you're in your 50s, and you can only remember that far back? Nah.
Hey, look, I'm sure there's stuff that see, again, Benny, you got to remember something. You were very fortunate because you came from a family with a dad, and you guys had a little something going on. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know because my dad wasn't like that. My dad was fixing things places. He wasn't watching any football, and then he wasn't even there. He moved on. So there's just stuff that because of that. So you're fortunate, man. Count your blessings. That's
that's what I need to just count my blessings.
Count your blessings.
Point out these frauds.
Because you sounded like Stephen A. talking about Cowboy fans.
Yeah, these frauds.
That's hilarious. All right, so Johnny Walton, congratulations to you. All right, Benny, I just want you to know it's here. It's out. The Madden 4. And it's in my possession.
Okay.
The guy who owns the painting company, young brother, he's also a Madden guy. So we're already talking about going at it. We'll be going at it soon. But I had to tell him, I said, well, you got to get it loaded up. And then I had to take a look at it, see if I like the offense, see if I like the defense, And I'm not really in love with our offense. The thing about Madden, and I'll say this, they do enough changes so that your level of proficiency goes backwards with the next game. So you really do have to start off a little different. They always throw a few more features in there that you now have to learn. They change the playbooks just enough. There's like with the Niner playbook, there's formations that aren't there that were my primary
that were in the previous game.
Yeah, in 23, the formations that were there in 23 for the Niners are not there in 24. And one of them was my primary formation. So now I got to, really change it up. But that's kind of the fun of it, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of the fun of it. So yeah, the new Madden is out, and we'll see how this all goes. All right. Is this real or fake, Benny? That Dak Prescott is in talks for a $50+ million contract extension. Had you heard any of this?
No.
All right. When it came up, that's what I asked. Is this real or is this fake? Because I can't see them asking for that at this particular time.
I'm trying to see where's that from. There's a lot of
First Esports. So
I don't know.
Outside
there's a lot of fake publications out there that they put out fake stuff all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I hate about Google, I get a lot of Google notifications, and they're about a proposed trade, but the way they say it, you're like, did somebody get traded?
Right. It's a proposal they made up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You ready for Deion this season, Benny?
I'm ready to see what Colorado does. Somebody told me they'll be lucky if they win 6 games.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're going to open up against TCU. What do you think?
Ooh, TCU made the Final Four last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They lost some guys to the NFL, but they were good. They were really good.
So Shedeur Sanders and company and Deion, they got their work cut out for them, eh?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Well, prime time is he's always talking about being positive and handling the challenges.
I'm sure he knows he's gonna have to take his lumps for a year or two.
Think so?
Absolutely. They're not gonna win right away. They're coming up from nothing. They barely won 3 games last season.
Yeah, that's what it said, like 3 games.
He didn't turn the whole team over.
Yeah, he came in and told most of you guys can go ahead and put your name into the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's going to take him some time to get his culture established and hit the recruiting trail another time or two.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes here. Miles Jack, I watched him in the preseason game, and I'm like, he don't look like he's ready. And the next thing I know, he's retiring. He saw it too. Him and I saw the same thing. Them guys was running around him like, oh. He's like, oh my goodness.
I tell you, boy, that's the risk you run when you bring in guys off the couch sometimes.
I'm telling you.
I don't know how much money that cost them. I would assume it wasn't too much, but
they're not paying these guys much, man. But hey, if you can come off the couch, get a mill, and then go back on the couch.
Hey,
it's like hit the lottery,
the team takes. At the time, he probably thought, you know what, I can do this. I don't have to start. I can play situations. I can probably do this. But these guys, once they get older, training camp is a little bit too much for them. All that running and the heat, they don't want to do that.
Even the new training camps, which are nowhere near like the old training camps.
Right.
All right. Jordan Ta'amu, congratulations, got signed by the Vikings.
Okay.
Had a pretty good year. So XFL to NFL. Ben, that's pretty tough, man, when you and your brother get cut on the same day. The Williams brother, both Greedy and Rodarius, both got cut on the same day.
Greedy Williams. Wow.
Do you remember when he went to the Browns and OBJ was there? And OBJ was
Yeah,
just screaming,
yeah.
yeah, I expected Greedy to be like who's the like Sauce. You know, I thought he was gonna be like a Sauce, you know, like the man. So,
Well, he'll turn up somewhere. Somebody will get hurt. No, they'll be calling him.
they'll be calling him.
Yep.
Well, Benny, let me see here. What did you think about Mariota's performance?
Uh, uh, wasn't very good, to put it nicely. Um, I think he might be washed, man. I think he's done.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a lot of pressure to you know, from or just put it this way, negative pressure from the Eagle fans. But yeah, remember when I said I watched that show Quarterback, and I kept thinking he sure is running a lot. He's not getting through his reads and stuff, and he's taking off. For a guy with his level of experience, I was just surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but again, it's amazing. The Eagles didn't see that, you know, and so they felt they could bring him in. We thought it kind of made sense because of his mobility, but too much mobility is not going to work. I knew you loved this when I posted this. I don't know. Did you really get a chance to take a look at this?
What's this? Tyreek Hill talking trash?
Tyreek Hill is saying here basically,
Oh, he doesn't watch film.
right? He basically goes on Madden and looks up all of their characteristics and stuff, and that's how he kind of knows. Because he's like, because I know football. He's like, I already know the lines, I already know the coverages, I already know the tells, I know everything. I just need to know about that guy. And he says Madden is a good tell. But he goes on there and looks at their speed and awareness and all of that kind of stuff, and then he
Okay.
knows how to set them up.
He might do that, but he's lying.
He's like, I knew you were going to say that.
Or when he has position meetings, they look at film together. What does he get up and leave the room? That's all right, coach. I don't need this. I'll talk to y'all later. I doubt it. He sits right there with everybody else and watches the daggone film.
Okay, so you're talking about film with the group. I don't know if he
Yeah.
may not have been talking about that. He probably was talking
Well,
about.
he said, I don't look at film.
Well, he did say that. Yeah, he did say that. So
Okay.
covers his eyes on the cup. I just thought that was hilarious. Let's see here. What do you think about Richardson starting down for the Colts?
That was interesting. I thought they would at least, a lot of times and again, this goes back to the old, quarterback competition thing. We're thinking, are they going to let this thing play out to the last game to give both guys an opportunity to show as much as they can show? Or are they going to see enough in a game or two? There's only 3 preseason games. Are they going to see enough in the first and second game to make a call? And evidently, the Colts have made up their mind. And this one I thought was a little early. Not so much that I thought Minshew should have another chance to try to possibly win the job, but that a guy this raw would get thrown in there right away. I know I always say when a team picks a quarterback in the first round, especially somewhere in the first 5 or 6 picks overall, chances are he's going to be starting before that season is over. They're going to get him as prepared as they can, as quickly as they can. He's supposed to be the savior. He's the franchise guy. They've already named him that basically by picking him that early, investing that much in him. So I think they just decided, you know what? Why are we messing around with this thing? We're just going to put him in there, sink or swim. And then you get other teams like the 49ers who took a guy 3rd overall, Trey Lance, and they were in no hurry to start. They thought they were cool at least for an entire season. There was no big push to get him out there right away. I thought that was rare.
Okay.
This guy, and for the same reason that I think it's a little bit early for Richardson, because Trey Lance didn't have a whole lot of games under his belt from college. He came up, he missed the COVID year, and then they had like a half a season. They played like 6 games or something. And Richardson's only actually started one season in college, which wasn't much. So I'm thinking, hey, if there's anybody who would get drafted that early that maybe they don't try to rush, it would be him. But they made up their minds. They decide he's their guy. They've seen enough of his athleticism, and I think they feel that he knows enough of the offense that they can bring him along as they go.
Yeah, yeah. And the other interesting part is that they just decided to allow the running back to go ahead and test the free market. And you figure with a dynamic running attack, if you're going
That would
to
help.
start, yeah, that would be, So Jonathan,
they already burned their bridge. They knew they burned their bridge with him when the owner opened up his big fat mouth.
Yeah, he said to some of the more more stupid stuff, I guess. All right, let's go back. I don't know if you had, I just put this up. I had put the link up, but it didn't have such a clear picture.
Oh, okay. By position.
By position, average playing career length in the National Football League. The kicker, best job of the NFL being a kicker, 4.87 years on average. On the low end, running backs, 2.57 years on average. This is what's calculated into the, to Jonathan Taylor and all of that. Interesting enough, wide receivers aren't much better at 2.81 years on average. Tight ends, 2.85, corners, 2.94, linebackers, 2.97. Linemen, right under quarterbacks, 3.24, 3.63, and quarterbacks at 4.44 years on average as a playing career. So, man, can you imagine? That's a heck of a step. And guys are just, racking themselves to get to that level. But if you can make $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million in those 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 years, I guess it's all worth it, right?
Well, yeah, but when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I told you have to take into consideration if they start this by when you get either drafted or picked up as a free agent onto a team and or sign a contract, that's a lot of people. And the team can only carry 53. So if 32 teams start every year with 100 players, that's a lot of people. And if all 32 teams cut 50 players, that's a lot of people. And if only half of those people even attempt to come back or hook up with another team, that's you know what I'm saying? That's dragging that average down.
Yeah. I see what you're saying when you put all of those. When you're reaching a general average and you include those.
That's what they're using. There's every single person that gets on a team, and then boom. Now, if they said every player that started an NFL season, it'd probably be a little different. Might not be a lot different, but it'd be a little different.
I had heard running backs were like 5 years, so I was surprised to see that they were as.
I believe the real number is 5.
Yeah, that's what I had heard too. So you might have a point there in what you're saying. So, all right. So Benny, that's pretty much it for the evening. Do you have anything you want to add to the conversation before we sign off?
Today
Are you looking forward
Wednesday.
to anybody playing? You're looking forward to seeing Rodgers play this coming weekend?
Yes, I do want to see that.
Anything else you want to see this weekend?
The Eagles will be on tomorrow night. I haven't heard whether or not any of their starters are going to play or not. I don't think they are. I didn't get a chance to see Russell Wilson yet, so I'll have to take a look at the schedule. They're replaying the Pittsburgh Buffalo game right now, so Yeah, it's the last one. It all depends on the team's outlook. You know, most teams' outlook is it's the last preseason game. The next game we're going to play is the first real game. So there's no way I'm putting my starters out there. And then other teams are saying, you know what, still a little time to go. Let's get a last look. Things are different now because of these joint scrimmages. Back in the day, they didn't have joint scrimmages. You just practice, you hit your own guys, then you play the preseason game, then you went back to practice hitting your own guys. But
Right.
now with these joint practices, they're able to actually see their number ones against your number ones in a bit of a controlled environment, which takes away the need to throw them out there in the real game.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
Well, it is a different world in terms of that. And like I said, especially when you look at they're going to let Aaron play the week before season starts or the last
well,
game.
I think there's two reasons for that. And I think him and the head coach are probably leaning toward the same kind of reason. In the last preseason game, they didn't look real great. And I think Aaron, this is the new Aaron Rodgers. This is the everybody loves Aaron Rodgers. This is the nice guy. I'll do whatever it takes for the team. He wasn't like this in Green Bay. So he's trying to say, you know what, fellas, don't despair. If I'm in there, everything is going to be good. And the head coach, I believe, Robert Saleh, or Robert, as Aaron Rodgers likes to call him.
Oh,
I love the way
okay.
this is. I talked to Robert. I think he needs a little incentive for the team, a little lift up. You know what I mean? Something to make the team feel a little bit better. But here's the bottom line. They have a weakness. Everybody's talking about, oh, the defense is great. And they're going now. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got these weapons. They got both the rookies of the year. Blah, blah, blah. Their weakness is their offensive line, and that's not good. That's not good. The number one running back is coming off an injury, and their offensive line is very low rated. I meant to look on Pro Football Focus before we got on here. They were rated in the bottom third, maybe even the bottom fourth in pass protection and run efficiency. That's a recipe for disaster.
Who's the receiver that came over from Green Bay to be with
Randall
Rodgers?
Cobb or Lazard.
No, Randall Cobb. Apparently, Randall Cobb was talking to the receivers, and he was telling them, you guys keep messing up.
Yeah.
Rodgers is going to snap or something like that.
Right. He's like, because he understands that Aaron Rodgers is trying to be a different guy. And he hasn't had one of them Green Bay blow-ups yet.
That's the funny part, because after he said that, Aaron's like, well, I'm not really like that anymore.
Oh, no. Yes,
we shall see.
Yes, he is.
We shall see. If he gets hit enough, and if he throws one of those dreaded interceptions because of it, he'll be letting some guys have it on the side somewhere.
But the main thing he said that's probably true, no matter whether he blows up or not, is if he doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball.
Yeah, that's
so
what
you don't want to be that guy.
That's what he said. So we'll see how that works out. All of a sudden, Wilson gets all the pass. He's getting passes like Devontae used to get. Nobody else is getting anything. So, all right, Benny. Well, that wraps up Ben and Barry on football. Everybody visit us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and I haven't put us up yet on Threads, but I'm going to put us up on Threads, Benny, because I'm really not trying to go back on the Twitter like that.
Okay.
So, and of course, YouTube. So, ready, set, peace out.
Later.